podcast with Kobe and Sam live right now.
What is going on? It is the Talking Niners podcast. I am your host, Kobe Ransom, and joining me, as he always does, is the one, the only Niner Wire Sam. It's been a while since we've been on this. We were last on Monday last week after the loss of the Colts. Niners have finally won a game since then. So, Sam, how you doing?
Yeah, man, I'm doing great. Niners finally looked like they got back on track against Chicago. I mean, don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. We'll obviously talk about the game against Chicago. We'll talk about the upcoming game against Arizona, but this should be a bit more of an exciting episode. Last episode was just miserable. We were just kind of just sitting in misery, man. Now we're back, a bit more joyful. Let's get right into it. Let's do it.
Yeah, definitely better vibe, better feelings in the air. It was nice. It was nice to watch a win. I've been trying to be more positive and more, just less skies falling and all that stuff. And it was a good week. It was a good week. Niners didn't start off too hot, but they got going in that game. Also, before we get too far in this podcast is on the Blue Wire Hustle Network. And if you would like to follow us on social media and things of that nature, you can see if you're watching the stuff on your screen. If not, at Talking Niners Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and you can follow me. I have a new @ now, so it's at Aries Plays. If you're not sure how to spell that, it's in the description. And also follow Sam at Niner Wire Sam, as you always do. And so yeah, back to this game. It was a rough start. We had some missed opportunities, some penalties, missed kick from Joey Sly to start off that game, and Justin Fields. This was, I'm assuming, was probably his best game he's played this year against us. And kind of just a guess, but for the most part, you would assume so, seeing as how his he had the bad game against the Buccaneers where he got sacked a million times and turned the ball over like 5 times. He's had some rough games. The 1 yard of offense game against the Browns, but he was efficient in this game. Anyone who was a Fields truther looked good, from that Sunday game. But nonetheless, defense I thought had their struggles, but I think the offense, obviously, they finally got things going in the second half. The Jimmy Garoppolo we saw, that was probably like Jimmy Garoppolo played well in that game, especially the second half. That's where he really took off. But yeah, we saw the offense finally get back on track. The running game was very good. Elijah Mitchell once again, 100-yard rusher for second straight week. Deebo Samuel, who he's dealing with the calf again this week, so we'll see how that goes. But he was fantastic on Sunday. But for the most part, it felt like there was better pacing and better scheming and better just I don't know what the word for it is, just a better rhythm for the offense as a whole on this past Sunday. And hopefully this game going forward is just a way that we can get back on track. Of Ayuk looked like back to his old self in this game. He looked good. It's just amazing how much one win, and I know it's the Bears, and I know they weren't playing well as of late, but one win can really change the whole feel of a season. I feel like this win has kind of injected the fan base, at least part of it, with a little more hope going forward that this team can get things back on track. And it was nice to see them finally get a W back in the win column.
Yeah, finally back on track. And you said it perfectly. The offense really stepped it up this game. And I think really it just starts with the quarterback. That's where it really starts with. Jimmy Garoppolo had a much better game. Was he perfect? No. Can he still improve? Absolutely. But going back to his hometown, Chicago, he really stepped it up. That was the Jimmy Garoppolo we've been hoping to see this year. He can be a bit better, obviously. But at the end of the day, Jimmy Garoppolo had a fantastic game. I cannot complain much about it. We got the win, large part because of him. And I know like a lot of people, everyone's been saying Trey Lance should start. I still think Trey Lance should start somewhere down the line. But week 9, you got to keep that momentum going with Garoppolo. I think he had a great game against the Bears, and you got to keep that going against Chicago. It seems like the plan for this team is to hold back Trey Lance, make sure he has a Mahomes type year, get him used to everything. If they can go that path, that would be ideal for the team. But once Jimmy Garoppolo is struggling, you cannot be afraid to put Trey Lance in. That's the one thing. But I think there should be no fear in keeping Garoppolo in for week 9 against the Arizona Cardinals. So really starting with the quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, great game. Showed why he should be the starter in San Francisco for the next few weeks at least. Now, Elijah Mitchell, I mean, I'm just going through every offensive position basically. Elijah Mitchell is our running back 1. He's a running back 1 in the NFL at this point. That's what it seems like. I mean, we're really seeing a kind of a turn here where the 49ers have historically gone with the committee. This year, they've been really pushing on Elijah Mitchell to go out there and ball out every week. We didn't see much JaMychal Hasty. We didn't see Trent Cannon at all, except Trent Cannon's not really an option. No Trey Sermon. And you have Jeff Wilson coming back in a sec. I don't know if we're going to have to – I don't know if we're going to be able to see him that much because we have a guy in Elijah Mitchell. And frankly, I think JaMychal Hasty could be even better than Jeff Wilson too. We'll have to see. But Elijah Mitchell is the running back one for this team for the rest of the year and should be the RB1 going forward for this team. Now, Ayuk, that was the 1 point, Kobe. You didn't bring it up at first, then you brought it up last minute. Brandon Ayuk getting more targets was hands down one of my favorite part of the game. I think you have to – I mean, Brandon Ayuk needs those targets. We've seen what he can do when he gets those targets. We've seen how productive he is with running routes, hands, catching the ball, athleticism, all that stuff. So I think you got to look at Brandon Ayuk and give him more targets, and they did that against Chicago. So hopefully that's going to start a trend going forward with Brandon Ayuk. But, if you don't give Brandon Ayuk that many targets, you got Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel is the wide receiver one for this team. I think that's obvious at this point. I know we were saying Ayuk should be wide receiver one at the beginning of the season. Deebo Samuel has taken that over. He is a top receiver in the league this year. And I don't think there's any denying that. What was it? Like an 80-yard run? It was like an 80-yard reception, technically. So much yak after that. What was it? It was something like that. But, oh, my God, that was fun to watch. So, yeah, Deebo Samuel, man, balling out every week. Mohamed Sanu had another great game. So he's been a great wide receiver 3 option. I would definitely love to see a bit more Trent Sherfield out there, in my opinion. But you know what? Mohamed Sanu, I cannot complain about his performance. And then offensive line, I mean, they're always doing their job. I think it could have penalties still bring that down a little bit. DBs definitely did a better job with penalties, but offensive line can bring it down just a tad bit. So those are my takes from the offensive side of the ball. And that's really the big points for this game. Defensively, I think this team did very well. No Azeez Al-Shire, no Dre Greenlaw. You're stuck with Marcel Harris, Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles as your other 2 linebackers. And, this team did pretty well overall. There's been some injuries with this team, obviously, as we've seen. But, this defense is in a good position. And we got that guy from the Texans, Charles, what's his last name?
No idea. I don't know how to say it.
Charles Omenihu, I think. Charles Omenihu. This is a guy I haven't heard too much about before this trade. But from what everyone's saying, he's had a fantastic year. He's hot right now, coming on to a team that's looking to improve a little bit. And I think he could definitely provide a solid piece of this edge core. Right now you have, 4 or 5 guys. I know you have Charles, Omenihu, Bosa, Ford. Ford should be back. He was a full participant in practice today. Then you got Arden Key, Jordan Willis, and I think Eric Armstead, it's safe to say that he's going to be a defensive tackle. So I think I'm forgetting someone else, but you know what? At the end of the day, I think our defensive end depth, that's a massive boost to the depth right there. We thought we had pretty good depth going into the season. Injuries have somewhat riddled that, but at the end of the day, I think Omenihu is a great addition to this team. So overall, the defense is looking really good, and now we enter probably the biggest 2-game stretch of the year, the Cardinals and the Rams, which we'll talk about later. But going in 3-4 is a lot better going in than 2-5 to those 2 games. I'll say that for sure.
Yeah, I think the Omenihu trade was more to do with the fact that obviously Javon Kinlaw now for the year, and Zach Kerr, I guess he hasn't been playing up to the way they thought that he could, so he hasn't been playing much, and to the fact that Maurice Hurst is also injured as well. So he can play, D tackle and DN, so he's kind of like a hybrid in that sense. At least that's what they said that he can do. So we'll see how they use him. But yeah, defense, given the circumstances, like you said, without, Azeez, without Greenlaw, without Tart, who flung him at his first start, and he looked pretty good out there. Now they're without Ward as well, and we'll see how they do without both of their safeties now. Ward, as we now know, most of the fan base knows he's been fantastic for this team for a long time. So hopefully his, obviously, you know how much he means to this team, but hopefully his absence doesn't mean a whole lot to this defense as far as the secondary goes, because the secondary has been the excuse me, my voice. It's
been interesting. So you're gonna have Tavon Wilson. Did they put Ward on IR?
I left my water downstairs. Yeah, I think they did. I think if they haven't already, they're probably going to.
Yeah, I'm forgetting I remember he got hurt. I don't know why I'm forgetting what his injury was. But quad. I mean, I trust quad. Yeah, quad injury. I trust Hufanga at strong safety. I know they put Tart on IR. Okay. So they're only saying it's a 1 to 2 week injury. So he probably will not be on IR from what I would have to assume.
All right, well, that's fine.
So
Also,
I think
a little bit of news with the way today is going with Rodgers. Jimmy Garoppolo confirmed he is vaccinated. For anyone who wants to know, so
that's good.
he's vaccinated.
And you know what? At least we're not. I mean, I think the good thing for Green Bay and both for us is you have a backup quarterback who's more than worthy of starting at this point. So
Yeah, I'm actually excited to see how he plays Jordan Love. I mean, this is
dude.
like his
Imagine
chance
if
to
Jordan
finally
Love's
start a
like
full
kicks
game.
the Chiefs' ass, and then there's like a whole quarterback debate between Rodgers and
be.
Love.
But I think that'll be good because they'll feel good about who they have behind Rodgers, and they know that once Rodgers is done, they have a good guy behind him.
Yeah, get him some experience against a pretty good team. The defense has been all right,
Bad.
but still,
defense is not great. But
I mean, that's just Daniel Sorensen just been blowing coverages everywhere.
Yeah,
man.
every time you see Daniel Sorensen, throw it at him, right at him. But all right, back on track to the Niners though. Yeah, injuries are still a thing. We'll see how they rebound. But defense, they weren't great in the first half, but they really got things going in the second half. Obviously get Aziz back this week. They're getting George Kittle back this week as well. Robbie Gould will be back this week as they cut Joey Sly. But yeah, this team is getting some help. They're coming off of a win. And speaking of the team, they had a pretty aggressive, what's the word for it? Very interesting
emotional
speech after the game. Emotional, just aggressive, just kind of, how many F-bombs that Kyle dropped? Like 55 or something like that. And it's like
something like that, man. It was crazy.
That was he was fired up. But there was, I guess, some rumors from amongst the fans and maybe some beat writers, but just some people who do content for the Niners saying that the locker room was a bit of a it's not some drama in the locker room, which there might still be. Just from one clip, you can't say that the whole team is just okay. But what I've seen, obviously this team responded. Obviously, there was a lot of pressure, on it back against the wall for not only the team but for Jimmy as well. Jimmy responded. There was this rumor that that Kyle said this is simple stuff to paraphrase, get it together to Jimmy before the last drive before the half, or it's simple stuff. Can you do it? That was rumor from one of Grant's sources is what he said. There was the whole Twitter space about that comment that I didn't join, but they love those Twitter spaces. But nonetheless, Jimmy Garoppolo had a good second half. He finally completed a deep pass as well. But in the locker room, obviously they get Jimmy a game ball for playing his hometown, getting a W, playing well, and the whole locker room kind of really just they burst out in the cheers, and it was loud in there when Jimmy got his game ball. And it feels like obviously the talk has been this team is behind Jimmy, and that's a big reason why he's still here and still starting, because this team, they believe in him, they love they love the guy, and not only that, but also it seems that the Niners' plan is to sit Trey Lance as long as they possibly can, which they would like to be the whole season. From the feel of things, from the look of things, from what they've been saying and doing, it feels like that's the plan. We all kind of ask ourselves, what's the plan? I think they have a plan. It's just not a plan that everyone likes. So that's why it feels like there's no plan to some people. But nonetheless, I think this team, obviously, I don't think there's any, just from that speech, that clip, this team is a bit more together than we may have thought. On the 4-game losing streak, maybe we thought that body language was bad. Are they missing leadership? This, that, and the third. I think they're okay. And as far as maybe any maybe there's some secret thoughts in their heads between which quarterback they'd rather have playing, but it seems they're behind Jimmy as well. So at least we can put any rumors, if they're out there, that this team is torn on the inside, put that to rest for now. But as I say, winning cures all, and Niners got to win, and they seem that spirits are a lot higher than they were.
Yeah, definitely. That speech, I didn't get to listen to it, if I'm being honest, but from what I've heard, it was just a very emotional speech. And it really, I know there were a ton of rumors, as you said, like this team was a lot just kind of separated from each other. This team, like the locker room just wasn't there. That culture that the Niners have been implementing, that brick by brick feeling, just was not there. It was kind of like the bricks were split up, if that makes any sense. So at the end of the day, this speech was definitely something that said the locker room is back together. We're back on track. We're going to get back on track, and we're going to give it all we got for this rest of the season. You're down. I mean, when you hit rock bottom, there's only one place to go, and that's up. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, this team is fired up. They needed this. They need this energy going forward. They got that energy from Shanahan. Also, John Lynch speaking before the game. That was definitely interesting to see the GM do that. Just go right after, go right at the players, talk to them, get a different perspective. So I think this team is starting to get back on track. The 49ers realize they're in a pretty deep hole right now. So at the end of the day, it's going to be a long struggle to get back, but I think this team has a lot of confidence, especially after that speech.
Yeah, and not to mention, there were a lot of people who were, burying this team as far as like this season is over. There's not a lot to play for. Just go ahead and start Lance. This team is currently only a half game out of the playoffs at the moment. The Carolina Panthers are 4-4. The Vikings and the Niners are 3-4, along with the Atlanta Falcons. So they're all tied at 3-4 there. So Niners only a half game out of a playoff spot at the moment, the 7th spot in the NFC. So they're in a very good spot. Considering the start, they're in a very good spot with a lot of season left to go. We're not even at the halfway point yet. There's 17 games. There's only been 7 played. So 2 more games and we'll be at the halfway point, so we can really kind of get a feel for how things are going to go. But nonetheless, I mean, here's the thing. So obviously people, and this kind of goes back to the people wanting to start Lance, and we saw a clip from KMBR go viral about that they would rather see this team lose games with Trey Lance than win games with Jimmy Garoppolo. To kind of respond to that in a way, obviously, we know from Kyle Shanahan that their focus is only on how to get into the tournament, which is the playoffs. And, starting Jimmy Garoppolo at this moment, at least for this team, and at least in Kyle's mind, gives this team the best chance to get to the playoffs until it doesn't. And obviously, we saw, Jimmy had a bad game against Indianapolis. Just because he played good against, well against Chicago doesn't mean that this is the Jimmy we're getting, going forward. But at the same time, it does seem evident that, just for me, the way they called the game with Lance in Arizona kind of spoke to me that Kyle doesn't have the full confidence in the entire playbook with Lance, and he has a bit more confidence in things to do, in calling certain plays for Jimmy. I could be wrong on that, but this is my kind of, evaluation, my analysis from what I saw. But I think this team and, this coaching staff is, they have Jimmy as the guy. So, just going forward, this team, their goal, obviously we know, like, big picture, you want to get to the Super Bowl, but their goal is simply just making the playoffs. And Jimmy Garoppolo, no matter what no matter how we feel about him in this, he does enough for, on this team for them to win games, and that can get them to the playoffs. They lost a lot of games because of a lot of minor mistakes. Some Jimmy, some just on the team as a whole. But, the reason Niners aren't 3-4 just because of Jimmy Garoppolo, and that's the biggest thing. There were a lot of games that were lost because of other reasons, whether it be on the coaching staff themselves, whether it be on the defense. Obviously, offense have had their fair share of issues, but, it's not just Jimmy Garoppolo. So, I don't have an issue with them starting Jimmy the rest of the season. I kind of changed my stance on that. I don't if their goal. And I tweeted this out.
I just want to clip that and come back to that when you start ranting about Jimmy Garoppolo after he has a terrible performance.
Yeah,
I feel like that's going to happen.
It probably will. But for right now, my stance has changed. I don't have an issue with them playing Jimmy Garoppolo. If they want to play in the rest of the season and sit Lance, okay. I mean, you got to get to the playoffs if you do that. Because once you're eliminated, then you play Lance and just get out of the way. But as long as they're still in the race, of course, I don't have an issue. What was I about to say? Sammy threw me off. I had a tweet a couple of days ago saying that, I understand that obviously, and I was the advocate for it as well, but playing Lance can kind of speed up the process a bit, get him playing sooner, he can learn faster. But there isn't I asked the question, what's the harm in him sitting? Sitting is not going to make him a worse quarterback. So if their plan is for him to sit and they want to roll with Jimmy and try to compete for, try to go as far as they can with Jimmy starting, then, it's whatever. Now, obviously, you got to make the playoffs if that's your plan, because that's the reason you're starting Jimmy anyway. But, this team, if they can clean up some, they can get if they can play more like how they did against the Chicago and improve upon that, I think this team's in a good spot. They should make the playoffs still, and their plan, I think, overall will work out. They'll make the playoffs with Jimmy Garoppolo, and then next year they hand the keys over to Trey Lance, who have a full year, just kind of watching everything and learning everything with one game played, if that's the only game he ends up playing. So, yeah, I'm on board with what they're doing. I'm okay with what they're doing at the moment. This is just me. What's today? November 3rd. This is how I feel November 3rd. We'll see how long I feel this way. But for right now, being more positive, not really thinking sky is falling. I'm okay with what they're doing.
Yeah, I think this team, I mean, as you said, there's still a lot of time to rebound. There's a lot. I think there's stuff that could change still. I'm not on as board of the I'm not like as on board of the Garoppolo train as you are, but I think, as I said earlier, you got to keep the momentum going. I think we saw this last year with Miami where Fitzpatrick had so much momentum going, they switched it and it did not work out and they missed the playoffs. And look where they are now. They're at the bottom of the football tier right now. It's kind of brutal for them. So at the end of the day, I think the Niners, if Garoppolo is playing well, you have to stick with Garoppolo. No ifs, ands, or buts. I mean, it's what the Packers are doing. The Packers, Aaron Rodgers has been killing it this year. Even if Jordan Love has a good game against Kansas City, yeah, he's a first-round pick. Yeah, he's the quarterback in the future for you. But I think you guys,
Aaron Rodgers. That's a bit different.
Yeah, exactly. It's Aaron Rodgers. You got to keep going with Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion. But that's what I'm trying to say right there. But yeah, there's still a lot of time to rebound. I mean, this is a 3-4 team. And as you said, like you look at the other playoff teams, we're not that far outside of the playoff picture right now. And is our schedule hard? Yes. But you look at some of the games that we have. We have Jacksonville, Atlanta. Atlanta could be a trap game, actually. I don't know. I'm not going to say Atlanta, actually.
Yeah.
But you got the point. Jacksonville, you have Houston, you got Tennessee without Derrick Henry. I think that could be a pretty good game for us to win. You have Minnesota. That's another team that, they're close with us, but I think that's a winnable game at home, especially. So those are 4 winnable games. That's 7-4. Now the other games, they're going to be a bit tough, but this is a team who is built. This team has grit in them, and they've drafted a ton of players in the past few years, especially that have grit in them. And not just after the Dante Pettis scenario, I think you see a trend of players, and I'm actually going to highlight 2 players who have a ton of grit in them that you never see: Ambry Thomas and Aaron Banks. Those guys have so much grit in them. That's why I really like, especially the Ambry Thomas pick. That's why I really like that pick. Obviously, as that hasn't panned out, but you get the point. Talno Hufanga is a better example, actually, who has a lot of grit and has been playing really well for us that we've drafted recently. So, this team's a gritty team. They're going to go all out. And the mistakes have really just been, there's been a ton of penalties. There's been some play calling mistakes that I think got kind of fixed up during the Chicago game. And there's been some quarterback mistakes, which we did not see during the Chicago game. And for the matter of fact, penalties, we didn't really see, mainly with the DBs. So at the end of the day, I think the mistakes that the 49ers are making are definitely easy to fix, and they can definitely fix them going forward. So it is way too early to give up on this team. We're halfway through the season about. There's still a lot of time to rebound and improve and do all that.
And the teams are going to be in the hunt with, we have the Vikings, the Panthers, the Falcons, Eagles, Seahawks, and Bears. Those are going to be the teams that, at least
all our teams that are, I would say, are worse than us.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say.
Like Atlanta is not worthy of the playoff team. Carolina, they're having a whole quarterback controversy right there. Minnesota, they're pretty decent. Seattle,
yeah, but they lost to Cooper Rush at home. I don't believe in that team either.
That's what I'm saying. We're still better than those. And then what was the other team you said other than Seattle?
Falcons, Eagles, Seahawks.
Eagles. Yeah, Eagles are not good. And Bears we just beat.
Yeah.
So
Seahawks, we'll see how that goes. We'll see when Russell gets back. So that's maybe the only one there that we're in the hunt.
Seattle, I bet we'll probably lose to Seattle, but at the end of the day, that team has not been that good this year.
Yeah, they're not. And we should have beat them the first time around anyway, with Russell
exactly.
playing. So, and the Saints, they just lost, Jameis Winston. So we'll see how that affects them, what they choose to do at quarterback going forward and how they look.
They're going Trevor
overall
Siemian,
team,
not Taysom Hill.
Overall team, but the Saints we'll see when Taysom gets back, how they look. But
interesting.
They get another team I'm really scared of. So really the front runners are definitely just teams that have looked good already. The Packers, Cardinals, Rams, Cowboys, and Buccaneers. We've already lost to two of those teams. They already played two of those teams, the Cardinals and Packers. And now, speaking of the Cardinals, coming up next at Levi's, Kyler Murray, Cliff Kingsbury said today that he doesn't need to practice to play on Sunday. So we won't know if he's playing until game time, most likely. So the Niners are acting like, Kyler's going to play. So I'm going to assume that Kyler's going to play. Kyler won't be 100% if he does play, number one. So, and they played well against him the last time they played. And that was in their home when they were playing at their best. And Hopkins still has the hamstring issue. He didn't practice today. Neither did AJ Green. So they've got injuries, and we're getting guys back. And we're coming off a win. Confidence is up. Momentum might be going. This is a chance back at home. We are 1-3 at home this season. My bad, 0-3. My bad. We haven't won at home yet. We're 0-3 at home. Looking at the wrong record.
We haven't won a home game since week 6 of 2020. So you have to. You have 2 games. Hold up. You have 2 games back-to-back division opponents. You have to win one of those games. I'm sorry. I don't care if it's the Rams or the Cardinals. You have to win one of those games. And for the matter of fact, you're going to be 3-6 if you lose both of those games. That's usually a death sentence. Yeah.
The hope is to be at worst 4-5, out of this stretch, because once you get past this Cardinal and Rams stretch, if I can get to our team schedule real quick, I'm over here.
Once you do that, you've lost to every division opponent.
Yeah, so if you can at least split one of those, if you can go 4-5, if we're at 4-5, you got Jacksonville, you got the Vikings, then you've got the Seahawks, Bengals, Falcons, and I think those are all teams where I'm not going to say they're guaranteed to lose those games. They can, especially if they split, these next 2 games. I'll say, hey, they're in a spot where they can probably get something going. The Bengals lost to the Jets, so I don't feel as strong about them as I was before that game. You also had Jets with their backup quarterback, and they're who also had to start the game in his life before. So, shout out Mike White, the GOAT, over
Mike
in New York.
effing White, man.
Mike effing White, bro. But Seattle. We'll see how Russell, if he's back, and how he's feeling in that game. But even still, that Seattle team isn't great. I think the Niners should be able to win that game. Vikings look rough. Jaguars aren't good. Just if they win both of these games, they're really in a good spot. But if they can at least split these next 2 with the Cardinals and Rams, I think they got things going for them. This week is about continuing to build on momentum here and get something going. This team is still very talented. We're getting some good players back. With Kittle coming back, we're getting Aziz back next week. Obviously, we made an addition to the front 7, the defensive line. So just overall, and we already played this team before. We played them tough. We have a good plan for Kyler in this offense. And even if they're not healthy, they're gonna, it's gonna be even tougher for them to really get something going. Once again, this will be about the offense to continue their momentum here. That they've been the biggest problem for this team. Going so far this season, they finally got it together in the second half last week against Chicago. So we just got to keep things going on offense here. Defense. You're without Tartan Ward and some other guys that you had in that first game, but nonetheless, contain Kyler Murray the way you did in the first game, and things should work out for you pretty well here. They're going to have their plays, and if Murray doesn't play, then you really got something going for you there. And this is a winnable game. Once again, we have another winnable game. We've been saying that I think almost every week, but this is a winnable game. You're at home. You haven't won at home yet. You got to break this curse. I don't know. Somebody's going there and say a prayer or something in Levi's, but
do something.
You got to break this curse at Levi's. Get a W and get back to 500.
Exactly. I mean, you gotta get a win here or against the Rams. I think here, I'll preview this game a little bit. So obviously the Cardinals are one of the best teams in football, but I would say we had a pretty good performance against them. 17-10. I think we're the only team to hold them to 17 points or less. So, that's a good performance from this defense. If we can do that again, that would be phenomenal. Now, dealing with I think the main problem last game against the Cardinals was our offense. So you look at, they always have our number, which is weird, especially their defense has our offense number. So I think at the end of the day, it's the offense just has to step it up from what they did last time. Garoppolo, this is a game.
No Watt this time, though. No JJ Watt this time.
So. No JJ Watt. That is good. Yeah, no JJ Watt.
And
For
Jimmy's
some reason I
playing.
thought. Yeah,
And
I
we'll
know he's not. He's not for some reason I thought Chandler Jones wasn't playing, but he definitely is. But I think this is. I wouldn't say it's a make or break game for Jimmy Garoppolo, but I think Jimmy Garoppolo has to perform well here to keep his job for the long run. In my
here's the
opinion,
thing. Here's the thing. We saw how Lance played against this team. So now we get to see how Jimmy plays against this team. And Jimmy's been a Cardinal killer until that last year, the week 1. That wasn't good. But the first the 2 games in 2019 were good. Which I mean it's not the same team this year. But that's the thing. We saw Lance play against this team. If Jimmy looks and Lance looked pretty good in that game. He had some issues here and there, but it's not like Jimmy's been perfect. So if Jimmy looks worse than Trey Lance in this game against the Cardinals, then things really get awkward, for the quarterback room. But yeah, Jimmy starting here. We'll see, if it makes a difference, because Kyle kind of called a weird game with Trey Lance. He even admitted, after last week that he was in a bit of a funk trying to call plays. So, we'll see how they look on offense against the Cardinals this week with Jimmy at quarterback.
Yeah, and I think Jimmy Garoppolo, he can do a good job at quarterback against the Cardinals, but when Trey Lance played a phenomenal game against them and you have not performed as well this year, you have to step it up for Jimmy Garoppolo. So I think at the end of the day, I think this game, it's a winnable game. I don't think we are going to win, but I think the 49ers can give the Arizona Cardinals a pretty good challenge here. I think I will also say we have a much better shot of winning this game than we have winning the Rams game. So if we can get this win out of the way, that would be clutch.
Yeah, definitely. The Rams are that game. That's one where I'm like expecting a loss because the Rams.
That's going to be
and they just got Von Miller. So
yeah, they got Von Miller, who's been. He's one of the greatest pass rushers of all time. You have Bradley Chubb still on that team. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. What am I thinking? Aaron Donald. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I thought that Von Miller was a Bronco.
You said Von Miller. You thought Broncos. You like okay, yeah, Bradley Chubb. Like oh wait, no,
dude, it's gonna be weird. It's gonna be weird seeing him in a Rams uniform. But I know that team forever. Is. Oh yeah, no, he's a Bronco for life. But that team is absolutely stacked. So it's gonna be a rough challenge. I would not expect us to win that game. You also got Cooper Kupp has been the best receiver in football this year. You have, Stafford's been doing really well.
Yeah.
Even Darrell Henderson has been doing well. I did not expect that from the Rams. I thought.
I heard,
Acre.
I heard Stafford's numbers, and they were doing like a when you watch the game, and they show you like a score. You see like 20-something touchdown passes. What are his numbers this year? It's something ridiculous.
They're good, dude. I know Vish is probably. I don't know if Vish is gonna watch this or he's watching it now, but I know how badly he's going to be Stafford on this.
Talking about the stream. Yeah, Vish will be at this game actually. With the Cardinal game, not the Ram game, the Cardinal game. But
he's going to SF.
Yeah, I think he's going. I think I heard him on the Grant Show say he's going. But yeah, I'm sure. This is his "I told you so" moment because
this is
he's thrown for 2,400 yards.
It's been like that for him.
22 touchdowns and only 4 picks. 22 touchdowns, only 4 picks so far this season.
That's insane.
Halfway through yet.
Yeah, the fact. We're not even halfway through, and Stafford's playing his best season of football, in my opinion, right now.
Yeah.
So the Rams. I think right now the Rams are probably the Super Bowl favorites.
And he's almost completing 70% of his passes. He's at 68.9. So
yeah,
he is. We kind of said this. You give a good quarterback to Sean McVay. Jared Goff was not performing that well with them. That's why he got traded. And we see the Lions now. Not saying that it's all Jared Goff's fault, but for the quarterback wins crowd, Jared Goff is one of the most winningest quarterbacks in the league with the Rams. You trade him to the Lions. They have not won a game yet. You trade Stafford, who hadn't won a whole lot with the Lions, to the Rams. They are 7-1, and Stafford is playing phenomenal. Phenomenal. I couldn't say the word, but for the QB wins crowd, there you go. I present to you Matthew Stafford.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that Rams game is scary. That Rams game is. I don't want to hear we own them or I don't care. I don't care about that narrative at all. This is a different Rams team. That team scares me. We're gonna see how they do.
No, the Rams are.
That means you gotta win this game, though. You gotta win this game. You gotta win this week. So you can afford a loss, which even still 4 games already to this point. But if you win this game, you can kind of still make your way back from a loss against the Rams. So you got a banged up Kyler Murray, a banged up DeAndre Hopkins. You played well against them last time on defense. Offense, you played good this past week against Chicago. Keep it going, and you should be able to win this game. at home because win a home game too, please. 0-3 is, I mean, not even 0-3. Like you said, they haven't won since week 6 of 2020. So
Yeah, that's brutal. And I don't want, again, I've said this in previous episodes. I don't want to hear the whole Arizona BS that we played in Arizona. You should win the game when you're playing teams like Buffalo, Washington.
the home game thing,
They have to
you're not
travel from the
traveling.
east.
There are no fans
They have
all
to travel
year,
across the
but
country.
yeah,
Yeah, and
you're
you're
not
not traveling
traveling.
either.
You're at home. You're
Hell,
you're staying put.
even the Seattle game, like they're traveling too. You're staying put.
That's the I know they weren't in Santa Clara, but they were in Arizona. They were stationed in Arizona. They all stayed out
They were
there.
stationed in
So,
Arizona. They
yeah.
had no fans there either. There were no fans at Levi's, no fans in Arizona.
Yeah, there's no difference. They still lost home games.
Yeah,
It's just different venue, but they still lost home games. So they just got to win a home game. And if for your 2020 people, they have won a home game this year, either. So I mean, it's just they're struggling at home. But can they break? We broke our offensive funk last week. Can we break our home game funk this week? And then if we do that, then it's like a measuring stick game against the Rams. Because if you can just hang with them, I feel good.
exactly,
you're kind of looking ahead. You're kind of looking ahead here. But if you can Cardinals, oh my connection went down. Oh, we're good. Yeah, if you can hang with the Rams and after beating the Cardinals, I feel good about the season. I feel better about the team going forward.
Exactly. Yeah, I think if you can beat the Cardinals, I think you're on track. The Rams game, you could win. I don't think it's going to matter if you lose. So yeah, that's all I really got to say about that.
Yeah, but nonetheless, I think we got about everything out of the way. Is there anything we missed? As far as the Niners go,
not really, man. I think we kind of hit the hammer on the nail right there. Or yeah, hammer on the nail right there. Nail on the head. Sorry,
there you go. Hey, you finally got it right.
I always messed it up.
Nail on the head. There you go. I was never going to correct you ever. I was kind of let you go through it until you figure it out, and I think you finally figured it out.
No,
Now, you remember?
Like hammer on the nail sounds better.
Does it?
But nail on the head is the correct saying. I don't know.
Hit it if you hitting the nail on the head. I mean, then again, you don't always use a hammer though for a nail.
One of my friends here is like grammar crazy, so she's probably pissed at me for whenever she's watching this saying this.
Hammer on the nail, hitting the hammer.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not wrong. If you hit the hammer on the nail, it's still the same effect. But hit the nail on the head is the same. Because you might not use a hammer. You might use a mallet. You might use a book. You might use a stapler. I don't know why it's a stapler, but nonetheless, all right, we got everything we want to say. Thank you guys for listening. Last week was the more rant, kind of get everything off chest kind of thing. This is as Dawson here, a screw grammar. As long as you understand what I'm saying, doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Grammar does not matter. Hey, we got the hey, what's up, cuh? What's up? Listen, we don't even need to. What is grammar?
What is grammar? To the person who I was referring to as my grammar crazy friend, I know you're watching this. Screw grammar, and screw you too.
Oh, Sam, she's gonna fight you. All right.
She will.
We're gonna get out of here. Thank you guys for listening. As I said at the front of the show, really are enjoying the podcast. Make sure you rate and review. Leave us a 5-star because it makes us feel good about ourselves. And make sure you follow us on socials. You can find the links to all that in the description. At Talking Niners Pod for the podcast on both Twitter and Instagram. Even though I don't post on IG, so don't even worry about Instagram. Just do Twitter. But yeah, follow us as well. Our individual.
You might as well just give the Instagram a follow because instead of 2 followers, he can have 3. I actually don't know how many followers you have, but
or 5.
Or hey, man, 6. The bigger the number, the better.
Or 7. Anyway, yeah, follow us at Aries Plays, at Nanowire Sam. That will do it for us. As always, go Niners.
See ya.